Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own Money Truth expert, patriotic money whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you?
I am patriotic and I'm doing great, Carlos. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm glad we both got the memo, right? To wear red today after the 4th of July, which is great.
Oh, what a weekend it was, wasn't it? The celebrations everywhere. We had personally, we were at a wonderful fireworks show. I love that. I love we hang a flag on our house every day with a light on it all year long. Just military family. That's what we do, and I know you have the same history and the
Mhm.
same heritage there. But wow, what a weekend! It was just so great to see people coming together. Whether it was over soccer or fireworks or hot dogs.
Yeah,
So
for
awesome.
sure.
So I'm fired up, love this country and love everything about it. It's very exciting. So let's go.
1,000%,
USA.
1,000% for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Folks,
fun.
if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Please make sure you are following Judy at judycopenbarger.today. Today, we are going to be speaking about financial freedom and what does it really mean for you. So we're going to talk about more than money. It's about the choices you have. And it comes down, it's about you. So make sure that you share the stream, talk to your folks, make sure that they're paying attention, grabbing their coffee, and getting ready to for us to get started. So speaking of that, what do you say we get started, Judy?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, so let's talk about, everyone seems to be chasing financial freedom, right? But does everyone define it in the same way?
No, they do not. They do not. I would say, working with people in this arena over 40 years, for some people, it's the freedom to not be stressed about money, to not have anxiety about whether it's investments or having enough just for the ends to meet. For some people, it's about not having debt. They want to dig out or they want to, get out of that. And it's so sad that so many people early in their life will get into debt. They go to college, they get credit cards, and then it's like, oh, free stuff, and they start using them, like not really having the training or you know the the covering to help them learn. And then you get in trouble and you go, shoot, and other people spin. It's like, I've been here again, I've been here again, I've been in debt again. So some people learn from those early experiences that you can dig out from. Others, it's hard. But freedom to choose, how you live and where you live and what you drive, freedom to retire, freedom to work if you want to, not because you have to when you get to some magical age. Freedom to give, freedom to share what you have with others and not feel like, oh, I need that, for my monthly expenses. I can't really give and help other people the way I want to, or help my family the way I want to. So freedom, it means a lot of different people, a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
What's funny is, I asked the question, why do people often associate financial freedom only becoming wealthy? And that seems to be a misconception, right?
Yeah, it's different, to live a full, robust life, unlimited, where you can just do anything you want. That's different from freedom of not being just trapped. I think. I think it's a very, very different thing. Maybe it's not, but in my experience dealing with so many people over the years, so many couples, so many families, I would say for some people, it's about the emergency savings. For some, it's about paying off debt, having flexibility with your time, owning your own schedule, being able to come and go, and if you need to work, doing when you want to on your terms. I think about, in law school, we got to choose, what kind of career you want to have. How do you want to use your law degree? And everybody's like, litigation. I'm going to be a litigation attorney. I'm going to make all the money and stuff. But you trade your money for your life, right? In litigation, the calendar of the court determines how your life's going to go. So you got this great big, trip out to Catalina plan with your young family and all that stuff. Well, now there's paperwork due Monday, or we got to be in court Monday. You're not going to go on that trip. Sorry, kids, no birthday party this year, right? Daddy can't be there, mommy can't be there. So it's about freedom, time flexibility. It's about choosing the career that you want or the business that you want. It's about peace of mind. There's so many ways that people express what freedom, financial freedom, means to them, and it's a very personal thing.
And folks, if you're just joining us, welcome. Please make sure that you are following Judy at judycopenbarger.today. We'll discuss a little bit more about her website and some of the amazing resources that are there for you to check out. And they're absolutely free. So you got to take advantage of that too. But I want to get back into this because, like, every subject that we've had, we always run out of time. So I want to make sure we capture every question if possible for sure. But can you think of what are some examples of financial freedom that people may already have, but they don't really recognize?
Yeah, I think people that are good at having savings, rainy day money, emergency savings, that brings peace of mind for people. That brings some calm. Like, what if we get a flat tire? What if we need to make that trip out to New Jersey to see Aunt Edna, because she's not doing well? All these things that can come up. What if all of a sudden there's a dance recital and we need outfits? We needed those little costumes. What if it's, soccer season and we made the finals? Now we got to travel. We get to travel because our kids are doing really well in their season. Emergency savings for a lot of people represents financial freedom, and that's at the basic levels. Paying off debt represents financial freedom because now you free up that line item every month. Debt, right? And that's money that can be used for your life, that now can be used for your life because that debt is not there. That line item's not there. Time flexibility, we've already talked about that. Career choices, all of that. So for most people, whatever will bring peace of mind or security in your mind, like that calm that you get when it's like things are okay, I'm not thinking about it all the time, that's what it's going to be for you. That's when financial freedom, you're on that track, or you've achieved that goal.
So let's talk about you're talking about those that I guess, for lack of better words, is those that have it together, right? So let's talk about us that don't have it together, the chaos, and you're living kind of life. How can someone just begin moving toward that financial freedom regardless of where they are today?
Yeah, get a plan. I'm a planner, right? So I'm kind of a fan of plan. Um, get a plan, be consistent about whatever it is, whether you're working on paying down debt, paying off debt, retiring debt, killing debt forever, get rid of it. Whether it's working on, your spending plan, just being a little bit more, maybe not frugal. I started to say the F word, frugal, right? But being more consistent, more stewardship oriented, just managing well the money that you have, the cash flow in and out, whether it's at 1,000 a month or 100,000 a month, it doesn't matter. Being consistent with that, intentionally spending what you have, getting those expenses manageable, having cash reserves, setting boundaries, yes to the right things, no to the right things. And you know what those are. Some people say, oh, I really didn't know, I shouldn't have done that. Well, you kind of know that little quiet
Mhm.
voice. You kind of know, right? And then just planning, get a plan, do the plan, correct the plan, because a plan is a moving, breathing thing. Write it down so you actually know what you're going toward and when the goals will be achieved. Put benchmarks in there, reward yourself along the way, all the basic things around goal setting. You just blow that up into the financial world and you will be set. We do this with clients all the time. We're very specific about specific goals. When will you achieve the goal? How will you know you've achieved the goal? What's the result and the outcome? How are you feeling? What are you thinking? So you got to have goals. You got to have a plan, and then just do the plan. Get some accountability and do the plan.
So you brought up a good point because we always love your stories, especially when you can compare it to maybe a recent client that you dealt with too. But think of a client maybe recently or the last couple of years where they came into you in chaos, right? And then you put them on this, you change their mindset and all that. Tell us what that looked like for them, like, and how long did that take?
Oh, well, there's so many. Some are on a longer journey than others. Some are more coachable than others. We grow up with attitudes and values around money, and if you're married, there's two whole sets of that. And not all of the values and beliefs we have around money are helpful. That's fair to say, right? Some things that we heard, some things that were pounded into our head, some things that we believe around, around the world, that advertising coming at us, what other people say, that our expectations of what other people's lives might look like. I get to see the inside. Not everybody gets to see the inside. The outside usually is pretty polished, especially here in Southern California. People look pretty good, like they're living great lives. They don't see, that they're over leveraged or really suffering financially. Some people do really well. So not everything, I guess, is what it seems. But I'm thinking about a couple that is in Southern California, way south, almost on the border. And when we started working, we're probably 5 years in now, and they've got, 3 little kids, and they're doing great. They were both in corporate jobs, and they had a lot of savings. They didn't have investments. They were financially illiterate, really great at their jobs, but financially illiterate, and decided to go into business for themselves. So this whole transition took a lot of not only structure and planning and capitalizing, but it was a whole mindset shift, because the mindset growing up was get a good education, get a good job, stay in that job, go up the ladder, retire well, get your pension, and then you're done. You've done your time. But that's not enough for some people. So these folks are pretty entrepreneurial, but never had the courage to go out and do it. They also didn't have the bandwidth for the balance of the rest, getting money to work for them. I always say every dollar has a little personality and a little job to do. And our job is to assign the roles. Some people call me the money whisperer, right? So we tell the money what to do. It shouldn't tell us what we can't do. Let me say that again. We tell the money what to do. It shouldn't tell us what we can't do, because there aren't enough dollars. So with this couple, we got their money working in the right direction. We got investments going. We got the protection in place, made sure the insurances were there, the estate planning. What if something happens to one of them, either death or incapacity? Are we going to be okay? Is the surviving spouse going to be okay? Are the kids going to be okay? What about the rest of the family that we're supporting and the charities that are important to them? So we got all of that organized. That's kind of like the foundation. And once the foundation was built, then we could just go. And a lot of the work was not the hard side. For me, that's easy. Technical, how to invest, how to do it, what to tell your dollars, what to do. That's technical. And there's a science to that. The art side is the mindset, working with the values we grew up with, working with a spouse who doesn't have those same values. We didn't grow up in the same household, right? Hopefully, right? So we marry someone that has a whole different idea around what it is to earn and spend and save and manage and give money. And so now we're merging all of that. We've got to get a plan together that we agree to, course correct the plan as we go. And that's what they've done. And they're doing great. So I would say, dollars wise, they're probably 8 to 10. I'd have to run the numbers, probably 8 to 10 times where they were 5 years ago, because of
Wow.
the changes, because of the investments, because of the capitalizing, because of avoiding mistakes for tax planning. They've just done a great job. So that's one couple that stands out in my mind as kind of a great success story in a very short time. Others, it might take longer. It might take 10 years to course correct and get where they need to go. This couple had a lot going on with their background, their education, their ability to generate income. And they already had a really good start. But putting that together, getting a plan, shifting the thinking, I think is the big part, to be able to think outside of the box that you kind of grew up in. And that's what they've done. So it's possible for anyone.
So, when you talk to folks like this, I'm sure there's also other folks that you come across that, and it's the whole comparison thing, right? So when you think about this, is how can people stop comparing themselves to others and define that financial freedom on their own terms?
Yeah. Well, everyone needs to have their own goals. Everyone needs to have their own why. What's the purpose? Why do I even need money? What am I going to do with my money? What's my long term, end game? What are my personal priorities? How do I merge that with the values and the priorities of my family so everybody feels successful? And it just starts with the why. All of our planning, all of our work starts with why, then what, then when, then how. Why, what, how. Some people might walk in and say, hey, I want to buy some of that, that new hot stock. And there's some right now that have SpaceX, right? Everybody wants this new stock. But there's always going to be a new trend, cryptocurrency, all that stuff. So when they walk in and they say, I want to do this, should I do this? Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm an expert in this field and several fields here, but I don't know because I don't know what your why is. That's the how. But the what is what's the money for? And the why is why do we want to do this? Why do we even need it? So you start with the values and then you go to the goals and then you go to the technical parts. Where are we going to invest? How are we going to make this happen? So if you start with the why, you're going to end up making mistakes. And I will promise you that you will make mistakes if you just follow the trend or you buy the thing that is hot right now or it's going out of style. It's a ground floor opportunity. Hurry, hurry. If there's any urgency for time for any financial decision ever, then you need to run the other way. If there's ever marketing coming at you or a salesperson coming at you or some expert coming out at you, you need to do it right now. Time is of the essence. Run the other way because it's so rare that time is really of the essence when you're making a financial decision. That's good advice right there. That's a good nugget right there. So I hope I answered that question. I think, it really needs to start with the why. Why am I doing this? Why is this important to me and my family?
And as we were talking about this, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot and actually ask you a quick question before we get to the end of the show. But, I know we talked about this before, but if money were no longer a concern tomorrow, right, what would you spend more time doing? And I think this is a question we could all take a moment to really think about and answer.
Yeah. Well, it would be family and travel. And when I say travel, it's not just, trying to eat the new food in the new place. I've been to, 50 some countries and love that. I love the idea of people, how we all do the same things, but in very different ways. Fascinates me. Love it. I love to help. And I love what we call purposed travel. So we go places and we try to serve or do something helpful while we're there. Make it a little better than other than just touring. And so I would say I would combine, if money were no object, I would combine the travel with the family and haul them with me to a lot of places. We probably stay in nicer places sometimes. We probably do more excursions and more the things that you look and you go, well, that helicopter trip is going to be, a couple $1,000s, but wow, what a great experience. I'd love to do it. And so sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So it would probably just be scaling up family time and purposed travel, which is kind of charitable to us. That's what I would do. What would you do, Carlos?
It's funny, but mine is very simple. Like you, it's family first, spending more time, be able to do more things with family. And secondly, would be able to just run my business for free, that I can really just help people in technology, just because they need the help. And I think in a perfect world that I would make sure I make that happen. Those are my two top priorities for me. Travel, of course, I would love to do that, but it's more on the forefront. Those top two things I think are super important for me.
I
For
love
sure.
that. 4th of July we spent with family that money is no object for them. And it was just amazing to see how our values are so aligned, the faith, family, country. Um, in fact, they have, balloons and flyers and screens and etchings on their windows and, Bible verses and that everywhere. It's the country, it's the family, it's the faith. And it's like we're doing the same thing. It's like they're able to scale it like beyond, your wildest imagination. But it's the same. I don't think I would change the car I drive. I mean, I would probably add a garage to protect what we have, but I don't think I would move. I don't think I might, upgrade a few things around the house and definitely add more trees and gardens. But I wouldn't wanna move. I wouldn't wanna change what I drive or where I go to work or, my home. I would definitely want to have more family time and free them up to have more family time with grandma and grandpa, right? So, fun
Awesome.
to think about though. That's that
Yeah,
question people ask, "What if you won the lottery?" Right? So,
exactly.
I
All right,
love
folks.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry about that. So we are at the tail end of the show, so I want to make sure we get to this. It is our challenge, and I want to make sure we got it in.
Absolutely, and I didn't realize time had flown. Yeah, so here's your challenge, pencil and paper. Write down, pencil and paper, your personal definition of financial success. How will you know when you're there? not society's definition, not social media's definition, not your neighbor's definition or what your parents thought, yours. And then identify one first step you can take in that direction toward financial success. Is it debt? Is it cash flow? Is it savings a certain amount of money? Is it creating a goal, achieving a goal? Write it down, take action in that direction. That's your challenge.
All right, folks, you heard the challenge. Please let us know if you need any help answering it, or we can share any additional content for that as well, too. Don't forget, we are here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. with the replays on Thursdays at 8 p.m. And next week, you're going to want to stick around because we're going to talk about the habits financially confident people practice every day and why confidence with money is built one decision at a time. So make sure you tune in. Follow Judy at judycopenbarger.today, and we'll see you guys next week.